Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital recap for Monday, January 19th, reveals that Willow Kane fitted Drew Kane while Cesar Faison and Anna Devane faced off. Dante Falconeri was also ordered to make a case against Michael Corinthos, so that's how Monday's GH occasion played out. Following Willow's not shamefaced verdict, she was free to go. Willow was thankful to her support platoon since she couldn't have gotten through this without them, especially Alexis Davis. Alexis anticipated Drew to come through for her the way she'd come through for Willow, so she was obviously talking about their Scout Quartermain deal. Nina Reeves allowed. This called for a festivity and planned to come over to Drew's place along with Harrison Chase, so Drew wasn't happy about that. Hard ADA Justine Turner fumed because she felt the execution lost because they no longer had the original business cam footage of Willow. Turner put Chase on full blast for his case hindrance, but he felt she should have done her job right. As for Drew, he made it clear to Turner that he wanted Michael to face charges, so Turner pushed Dante to start erecting a case against his family. During Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson's trip to the cafe, they bandied the outgrowth of Willow's case. Trina suddenly didn't suppose it was such a bad thing that Willow walked free since she understood how a monster like Drew could push Willow over the edge. Plus, Trina knew that Willow would raise dubitation if she disassociated Drew, so she felt Willow was stuck with him for the foreseeable future, and perhaps that was discipline enough. Kai still planned to come clean to the Bobbies about everything if Michael was fulfilled, but he wanted to keep Trina's name out of it. Trina eventually kissed Kai to shut him up and claimed they'd go to the police together if it came to that. At the law office, Sonny Corinthos spoke with Suzanne about the case and his belief that it'd be better for everyone if Willow was acquitted. Suzanne ultimately entered updates from Alexis and gave Sonny the news that Willow got a not shamefaced verdict. Once Alexis made it back to her office, she threw papers around the room in frustration. Suzanne appeared and assumed Alexis was acting this way because Willow was shamefaced, which is commodity she'd suspected herself considering how protective Willow was during trial fix. Suzanne also brought up Alexis' slip-up during ending arguments and assumed it was purposeful. Alexis was repulsed over having to keep quiet about Willow's guilt after a last-minute substantiation came to her with substantiation. Suzanne didn't condemn Alexis since she had a duty to defend her customer no matter what. Plus, Scout access was at stake, so Suzanne suggested there was nothing Alexis could do and felt that Willow was Drew's problem now. At home, Willow put on a show of gratefulness and kissed Drew. Scout also said about that Willow won her case and wouldn't be going to captivity, so she gave her a thrilled clinch. Drew looked bothered as Willow sang Alexis' praises and suggested she'd have further time to spend with Scout now that the case was over. Nina brought in a bottle of Gamesome for the festivity, but Drew spoke with her alone and pushed her to leave. Drew hovered to tell Willow about her own mama wanting her condemned so she could play the idol during the appeal process. Nina argued that wasn't what she said, but she conceded to avoid causing a scene on Willow's celebratory day. Although Nina was willing to go for now, she said she'd be back. Chase arrived coming with flowers, so Drew wasn't pleased about that or how thankful Willow was to her partner. Drew managed to get relief of Chase too while Scout went off with the nurse, who took her to Alexis' office for a visit. That left Willow alone with Drew, so she asked him to hold her and also celebrated with him soon after. Drew started talking about going on a romantic flight with Willow, who hugged him from before ahead picking him in the neck with a hype. Drew passed out on the bottom as Willow smugly said that it would each work out and added a "you'll see." It was evocative of Drew's own protestation the night before Willow shot him in the reverse. At the Quartermain manse, Sonny came to see Michael and promised he wouldn't let his son go down for shooting Drew. Indeed, if someone did try to make Michael, Sonny said it wouldn't be Ada Turner. While Sonny possessed Justine at the courthouse latterly, Chase came looking for Michael in expedience of calling an armistice for the family's sake. Michael wasn't interested since Chase believed he was shamefaced and helped Alexis target him. In prison, Anna refused to believe that the man speaking to her on the intercom was actually Faison. The man claimed he was indeed Faison and worked to move Anna that she'd no way be relieved of him. Anna threw up in the restroom and returned with a clearer head. Although Anna refocused out that Faison's brain was in a jar, the man argued it was someone additional's brain rather. Anna demanded that Faison show his face as evidence, but Voice claimed he was still recovering and refused to show himself when he was in optimal condition. Still, the man claiming to be Faison prompted Anna to be patient since they'd ultimately spend the rest of their lives together in their new home. General Hospital spoilers say the mind games will continue for poor Anna, so stay tuned. Justine Turner gave Dante Falconeri orders. Plus, Sonny Corinthos made a pledge, and Anna Devane brazened agony. On the next General Hospital, Willow thanked her sympathizers after being vindicated after the not shamefaced verdict was blazoned. Alexis Davis suffed in relief but didn't clinch her agitated customer. Trina Robinson complained to Kai Taylor about Willow escaping tried murder charges, while Michael Corinthos snappily left the courtroom. The judge said Willow Tate was free, and Nina Reeves hugged her son, relieved it was over. Harrison Chase complimented Willow, and Drew Kane rushed to her, saying he knew she'd be cleared, just as he promised. Willow thanked her sympathizers, and Alexis reminded Drew to keep his pledge before leaving. Justine gave Dante orders in the courtroom. Justine told Dante they lost the case due to missing business cam footage and asked him to find out who tampered with it. As Drew and Willow left, Drew told Turner he'd communicate her about pressing charges against Michael, the Bone. Who shot him? Justine was frustrated and scolded Chase for hurting her case with his evidence. Chase claimed he spoke the verity because he believed the wrong person was fulfilled. Justine replied that Willow was acquitted only because the jury missed crucial substantiation. Justine suggested at Chase being behind the missing footage. She suggested that Chase might be behind the missing footage, but he denied tampering with it. He told Justine he wanted to ensure the right person was penalized and said if she had done her job, Drew's shooter would be in jail, and she wouldn't be bothering him. After Chase left, Justine told Dante to make a case against Michael. Fading his family was the main suspect. Dante suggested they also look at other suspects like Curtis Ashford. Still, Justine allowed. Alexis's defense forced the state to concentrate solely on Michael. Sonny visited Miller and Davis to see Diane Miller and Alexis and learned from Suzanne that the jury had decided in Willow's trial. Sonny expressed his stopgap that Willow would be acquitted for everyone's benefit, surprising Suzanne since the DA might target Michael. He claimed the prosecutor demanded substantiation against Michael and didn't condemn Alexis for her defense strategy, as she was just doing her job for Willow. Sonny mentioned that Drew had given Alexis an claim to clear Willow if she wanted to see Scout Kane again, noting they would do anything for their kiddies and grandkids. Also, Suzanne entered a textbook from Alexis saying the jury set up Willow not guilty. After Sonny left, Alexis returned, upset over the outcome back in her office, and worried Alexis started throwing lines. Concerned, Suzanne came by and asked why she was acting like she lost the case, also figured out that Willow was shamefaced. Alexis wanted to know how long Suzanne had known, and her adjunct revealed she suspected Willow's protective jest. During their trial. At first, she wasn't sure, but also Alexis had slipped during totality, saying Willow shot Drew. It made me sick to stay quiet, knowing she was shamefaced, Alexis fumed, and now she's free. Alexis explained to Suzanne following that, while keeping names out of the discussion, Alexis developed on the shocking substantiation she had uncovered regarding Willow, which had come to light on the very night she wrapped up her case. With a reassuring tone, Suzanne affirmed to Alexis that she had acted immorally by offering Willow the finest defense she could muster. She further encouraged her superior to let go of the history and embrace what lay ahead, particularly now that she was suitable to be with Scout again. As for Willow, she has now come Drew's concern to deal with, Suzanne reflected with a hint of misprision. Trina and Kai talked about the trial at Bad Gen Cafe. Trina and Kai bandied the court case. Kai was worried that double jeopardy meant Willow couldn't be tried again. Trina offered a different view, saying that Willow, after declaring her love for Drew in court, was now stuck with him, which might be discipline enough. Kai told Trina he planned to quit as Drew's in turn and would go to the police if Michael was criminated, as they shouldn't both threat execution. Trina didn't want him to take the fall for a crime they both committed, but Kai claimed he loved her too much to let her ruin her life. Trina kissed him while sitting on his stage, and they agreed to go to the police together if demanded. Nina arrived at Drew's house with champagne at home. Drew assured Willow he'd get her kitties back, just like he promised to clear her name. Acting like a loving woman. She said she didn't know what she'd do without him, but she squeezed her eyes shut while kissing him. Scout also rushed by, having heard from her nurse that her parents had good news. She hugged Willow when she learned that Willow wouldn't go to captivity. To Drew's disappointment, Willow praised Alexis for defending her to Scout and told the girl that her grandmother would have further time for her now. Just as Scout asked to visit Alexis that day, Nina arrived with champagne to celebrate. Drew advised Nina while Willow took Scout for a snack. Drew told Nina to go and hovered to inform his woman about Nina wanting Willow condemned to take over the case. Nina indicted Drew of misrepresenting her words, but he stood establishment, smugly saying Willow would be furious to learn Nina tried to sabotage their relationship again. Not bullied by Drew's trouble, Nina agreed to leave just to avoid ruining Willow's festivity but promised she'd return. Indeed, though Drew got Nina to leave, Chase arrived soon after with flowers for Willow. Drew said Nina's festivity fell piecemeal, but he couldn't make Chase leave before Willow came back, and the Solon was dissatisfied with how his woman thanked her ex-husband again. Sonny made a promise back at the Quartermain estate. Michael flashed back his talk with Willow about her visiting the kiddies. If she went to captivity, she'd wondered what if she was set up, not shamefaced. Sonny came to see Michael, who complained that it was only a matter of time before the police charged him. Everyone thinks I did it. Indeed, my pater, Michael said sorely. Sonny, not minding if Michael shot Drew, promised to keep his son from being penalized for the crime. Michael refocused out that indeed if his pater could help him from going to captivity, Willow's being set up innocent would affect the visit hail. Sonny went to talk to Turner after leaving Michael. He wanted to cover Wiley and Amelia Corinthos from their unstable mama and manipulative stepfather. Sonny again promised to keep Michael out of captivity for shooting Drew, and Michael claimed he didn't do it. Michael stressed Turner would target him to save his character, but Sonny assured him that Turner wouldn't be the prosecutor. Latterly, Sonny went to the courthouse and saw Justine as she was leaving. When she asked if he was there to bewail, Sonny said he was there to help her. Michael and Chase got into a fierce argument at that moment. Michael was gaping at a picture on his phone that featured himself, Wiley, and Amelia, when Chase entered the den. Chase proposed that they should discover a way to peacefully co-occur for the benefit of the family, especially now that Willow had been cleared of all charges. Nonetheless, Michael was adamant about not wanting to attune with his kinsman-in-law. He said Chase was induced that Michael was responsible for shooting Drew and latterly supported Alexis in constructing a case against him. This disagreement snappily escalated into a heated argument between the two. Anna brazened agony. Anna shocked when she heard Caesar Faison talking to her through the intercom. Not believing it was real, Anna cried back that he was dead, but Faison kept talking about their complicated history and claimed that now that they were back together, they would no way be separated again. Claiming she was being deceived, Anna cried that someone wanted her to believe Faison was alive. Faison also mentioned that his children, Nathan West and Britt Westbourne, were also dead, but they had both come back to life. Also asked Anna if she had ever allowed that all three of them might have entered the same miraculous treatment. No, she screamed. I eventually got relief of you. Anna became physically ill, rushing to the restroom also. When Faison said she could no way escape him because what they had was ever, Anna hastened into her restroom, feeling suddenly sick. After returning to the living room, Anna extinguished the cigarillo in the ashtray and threw it in the trash, declaring that she knew Faison was dead because his brain was in a jar. Someone's brain is in a jar, Anna, the man's voice joked, but it's not mine. I'm right then with you. When Anna claimed that the man revealed himself, Faison responded that he couldn't let her see him until he was fully healed. Anna felt shocked when Faison added that formerly he recovered, they would spend the rest of their lives together in their new home. Willow picked Drew with a hype. Latterly, Alexis was organizing Willow's lines when Scout came to visit her grandmother, leading to an emotional reunion. Back at the Kane Menage, Willow informed Drew that she had Chelsea take Scout to see Alexis so they could have some time together. With the champagne Nina had brought, the couple heeded to their future then, while Drew suggested they should plan a holiday. If it fit around her visit hail, Willow approached the president he was in and hugged him from before a head suddenly pecking him in the neck with a hype. As Drew collapsed, unconscious, she echoed the words he'd been telling her for weeks: everything's going to work out, Drew. You'll see. The air in the Kane household should have been light, celebratory, and filled with the scent of expensive bubbles. Willow had been cleared, a legal miracle that felt like a fresh start. But in the world of the Quartermaines and Corinthos families, a fresh start is usually just a clean canvas for a new crime. Nina Reeves arrived not with a white flag, but with a bottle of champagne and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She claimed she was there to toast Willow's freedom, but Drew Kane saw the jagged edges beneath the surface. To Drew, Nina wasn't just a meddling mother-in-law, she was a predator circling a wound. You need to leave, Nina, Drew said, his voice a low, vibrating warning. He stepped into her personal space, his physical presence designed to intimidate. Willow is with Scout right now. She doesn't need your brand of celebration. She needs peace. Nina scoffed, popping the cork with a sound like a small gunshot. I am here for my daughter, Drew. Something you seem determined to prevent. I'm preventing you from sabotaging her again, Drew countered, his eyes flashing with a smug, righteous fire. I know what you were doing. Trying to get Willow condemned just so you could swoop in and take over the case, and her life. You're transparent, Nina. The accusation hung in the air, bitter as dregs. Nina didn't flinch. You're misrepresenting me. You're twisting my words to suit your narrative because you want her all to yourself. You want to be the hero, but you're just the warden. Go, Drew commanded. Before Willow comes back and sees exactly what kind of snake is hiding in her living room. If she finds out you tried to undermine her legal defense, she won't just ask you to leave. She'll erase you. Nina set the bottle down with a deliberate thud. She wasn't bullied, merely tactical. I'll go. Not because of your hollow threats, Drew, but because I won't let you ruin her day by making a scene. But don't think for a second that I'm gone. I'll be back. I'm her mother. You're just the man she's with for now. The uninvited guest. No sooner had Nina's perfume faded from the foyer than Chase arrived, clutching a bouquet of flowers that looked like an apology for a crime he hadn't yet committed. Drew's jaw tightened. The Solon, the man of the law, was the last person Drew wanted around his woman. The party's over, Chase, Drew said, leaning against the doorframe. I'm here to see Willow, Chase replied, his tone even but firm. I heard the news. Drew watched with growing resentment as Willow returned, her face lighting up at the sight of her ex-husband. The way she thanked him, with a warmth she hadn't shown Drew all morning, was a needle under Drew's skin. The celebration was supposed to be his. Instead, it was becoming a revolving door of his rivals. The promise of blood, the father's shadow. Across town at the Quartermaine estate, the atmosphere was far more somber. Michael Corinthos sat in the den, staring at the walls as if they were already the stones of a prison cell. He remembered the conversation he'd had with Willow, the heartbreaking what-ifs. What if I go to prison? What if I never see the kids? The door opened, and the heavy, unmistakable footsteps of Sonny Corinthos echoed through the room. They're going to charge me, Dad, Michael said, his voice cracking with a bitterness that had fermented for years. The police, the DA, even you. Everyone thinks I'm the one who pulled the trigger on Drew. Sonny didn't offer a platitude. He didn't tell Michael it would be okay. Instead, he offered the only thing a Corinthos knows how to give, a guarantee of extra legal protection. I don't care if you shot him, Michael, Sonny said, his voice like grinding gravel. He's a man who has caused this family nothing but grief. I'm telling you now, you will not be penalized. I will not let them take you. Michael looked up, a flicker of hope warring with his inherent distrust of his father. Even if you keep me out of a cell, Willow's innocence is tied to the visitation hearing. If I'm seen as a violent criminal, we lose the kids anyway. Then we make sure the narrative changes, Sonny promised. I'm going to protect Wiley and Amelia. I'm going to protect them from their unstable mother and that manipulative bastard Drew. You have my word. The courthouse encounter. Sonny left Michael with a fire in his belly. He headed straight for the courthouse, the halls of justice feeling like a personal playground to a man of his stature. He spotted Justine, the woman who held the power to prosecute or pivot, leaving the building. "Are you here to mourn the state of the law, Sonny?" Justine asked, her eyes sharp. "I'm here to help you," Sonny replied, his voice a low, dangerous purr. "I'm here to make sure the right people are targeted, and the right people are protected. And I think you'll find our interests align perfectly." The ghost in the machine. Anna's descent. While the men played their games of power, Anna Devane was facing a nightmare born of a grave she thought was sealed. The intercom in her home crackled to life, and the voice that bled through the speakers was one she had heard in her darkest dreams for decades. "Anna, my love." Anna froze, the blood draining from her face. "Caesar? No. You're dead. I saw you die." "Death is such a relative term, isn't it?" The voice of Caesar Faison chuckled. The rasp, the Teutonic lilt, it was unmistakable. "We have so much history, Anna. So much left to write. Now that we are back together, we shall never be parted again. This is a trick." Anna screamed at the empty room, her hands trembling as she gripped the counter. "Someone is playing with me." "You're a ghost, a recording." "Am I?" the voice countered. "Think of the others, Anna. Nathan. Britt. They were dead, too. But they returned. We have all received the same miraculous treatment. The science of the gods, Anna. I am not a ghost. I am your destiny." "No," she shrieked, the walls of the apartment closing in. "I finally got rid of you. You're a monster, and monsters stay in the dark." "I am right here with you," the voice whispered, sounding as if it were standing directly behind her. The psychological toll was immediate. Anna felt a wave of nausea so violent she had to rush to the bathroom, retching as her world tilted on its axis. When she emerged, she saw a cigarillo smoldering in an ashtray, a brand Faison used to favor. She grabbed it, crushing it with a shaking hand and throwing it into the trash. "I know you're dead," she gasped, her voice raw. "Your brain is in a jar in a lab. I've seen the reports." "Someone's brain is in a jar, Anna," the voice joked, a chilling, hollow sound. "But it isn't mine. I can't let you see me yet, not until the healing is complete. But soon, my dear. Soon we will spend the rest of our lives in our new home." Anna collapsed into a chair, the silence of the room now louder than the voice. She was being hunted by a dead man, and there was nowhere left to run. The baptism of Willow, the kiss of betrayal. At the Kane household, the celebration was reaching its climax. Alexis had taken Scout for a visit, leaving Drew and Willow alone in the quiet luxury of their home. The champagne Nina had left behind sat on the table, a sparkling reminder of the tensions outside. Willow looked at Drew, her eyes softer than they had been in weeks. "I sent Scout to see her grandmother. I thought we deserved a moment. Just us." Drew smiled, the smugness he'd shown Nina replaced by a warm, possessive glow. He poured 2 glasses. "To us, Willow. To the future. No more lawyers, no more threats." "To the future," Willow echoed. As they sat, Drew began to plan. He talked about vacations, about getting away from the noise of Port Charles, provided it didn't interfere with the upcoming visitation hearings. He was in his element, controlling the schedule, managing the life of the woman he claimed to love. Willow stood up and walked behind his chair. She leaned down, wrapping her arms around his neck in a gesture that looked, to any observer, like pure devotion. She leaned in close, her breath warm against his skin. "Everything's going to work out, Drew," she whispered, echoing the very words he had used to patronize her for weeks. "You'll see." Then, with the precision of a surgeon and the coldness of an assassin, she pressed a small, concealed syringe into the side of his neck. The high-pressure injection, hissed. Drew's eyes widened, his hand flying to his throat, but the sedative was instantaneous. His body went limp, his head lolling back against the chair as the champagne glass shattered on the floor. Willow didn't flinch. She didn't scream. She simply stood over him, watching the man who had tried to save her succumb to the darkness she had prepared. Her baptism was complete. She was no longer the victim, no longer the damsel in distress. The war for Port Charles had just entered a terrifying new phase, and Willow Tate was the one holding the needle.